To be clear, we're not talking about major collisions between aircraft, but an accumulation of relatively small stuff focused mostly on the ramps. Sea-Tac remains one of the fastest growing airports in the country. Flights move in and out of the gates quicker to accommodate more planes. With less time and less room, there's a growing collection of boo-boos, uh-ohs, and ouches, up to and including broken limbs. This is just the list for last year, 2018, 311 incidents, mostly minor, but 84 are listed as major, meaning any time a person goes to the hospital or damage totals more than $1,000. Some examples. About a week before Christmas, a ground service employee was injured when pinned between two baggage carts. On January 6th, an employee fell off the back of a lift truck. On October 23rd, an airline employee backed the Gate S9 jet bridge into a truck parked underneath. None of them were huge news by themselves, but taken collectively represent a troubling trend.
45% growth in passengers over the last 5 years.
Mike Ale is Director of Aviation Operations.
The ground incidents are really the hot spot that we're trying to address.
In a presentation made to the Port of Seattle Commission this week, the airport showed some disturbing graphs. As the number of flights grew since 2014, so did the number of incidents. And in 2017, the port added major ground incidents in orange. And as flying grows worldwide, so does the problem, and even bigger stuff than Sea-Tac's seen lately.
Yeah, $10 billion problem worldwide across the industry. $10 billion per year in aircraft damage, and that doesn't even account for serious injuries or loss of life.
All right, we're moving.
A year ago this month, we took you aboard a giant 777 freighter at a remote airfield in Montana, where Boeing is testing new technologies to prevent low-speed aircraft wing collisions. But a technology that also holds promise to avoid collisions between airplanes and ground equipment and airplanes and people working on the ramp. Glenn Farley, King 5 News.